Without saying how old you are, what childhood memory tells people how old you are? I remember a pope died, then the next pope died like 30 days later. So young me thought popes only live for a month. They do when they stick their noses where they shouldn't. Watching the Challenger launch live at school when I was in first grade. I saw it with my own eyes from atop my dad's shoulders with mom next to us from our backyard in Orlando. It's my earliest memory. I still remember their shocked gasps when the unthinkable happened. Later, my mom sat me down to explain to me what we had just seen. I understood death for the first time that day. Yep, the thing that traumatized an entire generation of kids. I still remember our teacher wheeling in the TV cart so we could all watch the first teacher in space. Then everyone cheering the launch, then starting to get bored as we watched the shuttle zoom off into the sky, then it exploding and all hell breaking loose. One of the other teachers ran into our room crying, which only made us freak out more. My daughter didn't believe that it happened. I'm like, yep, they sent a teacher to space and blew her up. Edit. While we all watched on TV at school. Let's not forget that part. I remember going with my friends at school to go see The Lion King in the cinema. After that, we went to Blockbuster and rented many other Disney movies and had a sleepover. Why, yes, I lived this life. I miss Blockbuster. Early 40s. We had a Blockbuster really close to our house back in the day. I think it's an AutoZone now, but God, I missed that Blockbuster. It was so cool. The moon landing was pretty cool to watch on TV, even though it was in black and white. This makes me think of you as ancient. Well, then I'm ancient too. My parents let me stay up and watch it at 11 or 12 at night. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Ask EmKay. My name is Mason. Let's get right into it. What's the creepiest thing you've experienced, but nobody believes you when you tell them? When I was a child, I was kicking some toy soccer ball in my room. After I kicked it for several times, the last one I tried to kick it really hard, the ball disappeared, and I was really surprised. I tried to search the room, and suddenly, after 5 minutes of looking for the toy soccer ball, I sit in front of a door near a wall, and the ball suddenly appeared, and it has the sound effects of the ball hitting the wall when it appeared. I still remember it clearly, and no one ever believed me when I tell it. You kicked it so hard it flew into the fourth dimension. Goddamn lag. After being in a car accident, I was in the back of a pickup. I fractured my back. You could see the indenture from my back in the truck bed. While recovering at home, I had an out-of-body experience. I saw my arms come up and I floated around the room. I did have a vision where everyone was multicolored with multiple appendages and a voice said the knowledge was at the library. Go to the library! Once I got dropped off at like 1 in the morning in the shadiest bus stop in Tampa. Even worse than a Greyhound station, everyone in the stop got picked up one by one. My phone was dead, so I had to charge it to call an Uber. Suddenly, I'm all alone in the only lit part of this open, huge area in the bad part of town. This sounds like rock bottom from SpongeBob. I see a dude in the distance come towards me. Mind you, I called for an Uber like at most 2 minutes prior to seeing him come towards me. He takes like 2 or 3 more to get to me. Just as he sits next to me, my Uber pulls up and gets down from the car real fast to get my bags. The dude sat down and muttered, "You're real lucky, boy." My Uber driver looked at me angrily and didn't speak almost at all the entire ride and gave me a bad rating. I think I might have been robbed or even killed that night, and my Uber driver thinks he probably could have too. I'll never forget that moment. Never. Edit. Nobody believes me because it really sounds too perfect of timing to be true to some, so I never really tell anyone anymore. Just reading the first sentence of your comment, I knew this was going to be a nightmare story. You're real lucky, boy. That shit would keep me up at night for years. I'm glad you're okay. When I was 9, home alone, I saw a person walking in our backyard. I just watched him. Once my parents came, I told them, but they didn't believe me. I used to get premonitions as a kid. I recall one night standing in the kitchen with my mom. We lived close to the train tracks. I heard the crossing bell start up, followed by a very loud screeching of tires and the sound of a loud banging collision. Not normal. It was so startling I jumped and turned to my mom, who was right next to me, and said, "What was that?" She said she didn't hear anything. The crossing bell suddenly stopped. I remember looking at the clock. It was 6 p.m. Less than 3 hours later, 2 teens, twins, were killed when they tried to race to the train in their car. This sort of thing started happening so frequently, my mom told me to stop telling her when it was happening. I narrowly missed a shooting outside a hotel, had a really bad gut feeling and promptly left. I predicted another car crash my classmate was involved in when she stole a car. I also do really weird to electronics. It's called the Pauly effect or the slider effect. That one's just very annoying. People don't believe me all the time until they see it in action. A few days after my dad died, I found a picture of him in my glove compartment in my car. It was a picture of him in his late 20s, early 30s that I'd never seen in my life, and it had no scratches or folds. It looked like a freshly printed photo. I assumed maybe one of his sisters had put it there, and though I didn't know when they could have, but I asked everyone, and no one has ever seen this picture of him. I still have no idea where this picture came from. When I was 9, my mother, an active drug addict who didn't have custody of me, had kidnapped me from my dad. She exchanged me for drugs with my aunt and her 2 male roommates. I was locked in the house with them while I got high and watched the Lorax. I probably watched the Lorax 20 plus times over 3 days until the police showed up. What is the part people don't believe? You watching the Lorax 20 plus times? That my mom sold me. I believe this more than than watching The Lorax 20 times. When I was around 13, I would sneak out in the middle of the night and take my mom's car and drive around. One night, as I was driving down a dark street, the car came to a sudden stop. It stopped so fast, it threw my entire body forward. When I sat back up, the car was running and my foot was not on the brake, but the car was not budging. I looked out the windshield and couldn't see anything. It was completely black, and as I was trying to figure out what was going on, I started seeing intermittent lights as my eyes adjusted. I realized what I was seeing was a train flying by inches from the bumper of the car. I have no explanation and by all rights should have died that night. Oh man, that gave me serious chills.
Holy crap, oh my god, I'm shivering, what the hell? That freaked me out. Lo is right, oh my goodness.
Okay. Onto something a little more lighthearted. Jesus Christ. Parents, what's the most ridiculous reason your child had a meltdown? You saw that scene from SpongeBob where Patrick was upset because he couldn't see his own forehead. My son saw it, realized he couldn't see his own forehead, and then had a meltdown. On some days, we're all Patrick Star. I pretended to feed his hippo stuffed animal jelly beans. You monster. Everyone knows the diet of a hippo is not stuffed animal jelly beans. When I was little, about 4 years old, I was very upset that my mom was pregnant with my little brother. So much so that at one night as she tucked me in, I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "I'll miss you so much when the new baby gets here and I have to run away." This was a few days after I had to be picked up from my grandparents' house one night because they had a kid stool with the 3 bears on it, and it made me bawl because that wouldn't be like my family anymore. Almost 20 years later, my brother and I have a good relationship, but it definitely took some convincing to get there. They say the first great loss of a person's life is when their younger sibling arrives. Us failing to believe someone else, his brother, in his pants he was wearing. As a parent, I can say that other people my pants often. As a person without kids, that happens to me too. I have 2. His brother looked at him. His brother didn't look at him. They're not touching each other either. He dropped his booger in the driveway and couldn't find it. Does he have some kind of booger collection? Oh, gross. You have to eat the nearest blue object. How bad is your situation? Let's see, let me look. Hold on. Right here. I have a comb. A plastic comb. Sounds like this. Oh, I don't know if you can hear it. There you go. I don't want to eat that, actually. That would be an armchair. Great. Now I'm going to look like a hypocrite in front of my puppy. Do as I say, not as I do. The mantra of many a parent. XD in 2020? Okay. I feel you, dude. Sitting on a blue couch right now. Well, the bed sheets are going, I guess. Me too, buddy. Relatable. I'm f***ed. It's the semi-truck my boss parked in the shop to keep warm because he's selling it. Rest in pieces of car. F. I recommend dipping the semi in butter and garlic. It makes it 200 times better. I'm eating blueberries, so I'd say those? No. Blueberries are purple. You've been boofed. Lucky. I have a blue Gatorade on my desk. Can I drink it or do I have to eat the bottle? Eat the bottle. If it was one of those bottles with the nipple lid on it, I'd have no problem eating that. That's so sus. I'm sorry. My son's onesie is blue. He's wearing it while I hold him. Question, do I eat the baby also? My wife might get mad. Commit to the cause. This is the way. I like it. What is something many people have, but you would never consider buying? Those kitchen signs that say farmhouse. Oh my god. Sayings and words printed on everything, especially kitchenware. Who needs mug on a mug? I was in a well-known discount store before the plague, and the kitchen section was filled with these absurdities. Ugly, wordy, label decor, if you know what I mean. I'd rather create a room that gives you a feeling than have a boring one with a sign that says happiness, as if that makes me feel happy. It's like having a laugh track, but for emotions. That was the best description I've heard. Writing that on the wall seems so tacky to me. NFTs. If you buy an NFT, go f yourself. Seriously. Stupid. Why buy one when you can just screenshot the thing? And if not allowed to screenshot, just take a picture and do some edits through Photoshop. People buy them to have a sense of power over superiority over other people. They only do this because there are legit people who are jealous of people who own NFTs. Both groups are idiots. Google Home or Alexa type thing. Working from home, I've found mine quite useful. Alexa spell. The problem now is, shut up! Stop it! Alexa, shut up! Be quiet! The problem is now I'm back at the office and I keep trying to do the same thing.